The most terrifying depiction of magic in manga. Hmm. This is interesting to me. Okay. Magic is something I always like to see in mangas, novels, games, whatever I read. I always like the idea of magic. I always knew how horrifying magic could be, but I don't. But I feel like this is gonna be something way more insane than what I think.
Have you ever
Okay, my
experienced the
imagination might be
paradox where you started to
a
doubt the
little bit.
dreams you were chasing? A cruel real experienced the paradox where you started to doubt the dreams you were chasing? A cruel
Mhm.
realization that you almost wish that it just stayed a dream? Well,
No.
this manga is kind of like that.
Hmm. Entice me.
Witch Hat Atelier presents this paradox in a very
Which
discreet way.
hat?
I often hear and see people talk about how wholesome and cute this story is, which isn't wrong. It can be very wholesome and cute, but there's an
Okay.
unsettling side to the story that made me start questioning this reality. What started off as me saying, that's low-key fucked up, an average of some numeric value that I don't have per chapter, started to just become, no, this is actually fucked up. So I think the best way to grasp where
Wait,
this
there's an anime
paradoxical
of
idea of
this?
mine comes from is
Or
by
is it an
first telling
anime
you
coming
about
out?
another story involving a Greek piece of shit who goes by the name of
Odysseus?
Tantalus.
Testicles. Oh.
Tantalus was a king among mortals,
Oh
born
my.
from the gods, and because of this, he was welcomed at the table of Olympus to dine with them. He enjoyed listening to them
Mm-hmm.
share their divine secrets and knowledge, but eventually, he grew a lust to know more from them. And so, King
Mm.
Tantalus's hubris led him to plan an act of deception by killing his own son and serving him as a meal to the gods in an attempt to test their omniscience. But the gods, they weren't fooled. They quickly became aware of the gruesome act and banished King Tantalus to Tartarus. There he was in perpetual thirst and hunger.
Mm. When I first heard this Greek story, it didn't really surprise me. I mean, I already heard a story of Medusa. I already saw so many Greek stories. This was just another
While
one.
being constantly surrounded by water that would
Yep.
recede as he bends down to
He
quench
can
his
never
thirst,
get what
and
he wants.
low-hanging fruit on a branch that would pull away when he tried to alleviate his hunger. Tantalus is the reason the word tantalize exists, which means to give someone hope only to disappoint them by not giving what you appeared to offer.
That's what
Which now
tantalize
leads us to
means?
the question of
I've
how
been
does this
using that
present
word
itself
way
in what
wrong.
I call the Witch Hat Atelier paradox.
Hmm. Basically, the monkey's
The
paw.
story follows Coco, an ordinary little girl who absolutely
Or a
adores
Jin's
magic
wish.
because of a sketchy witch who sold a supposed wand, a picture book about magic, and a dream to her. A dream to one day become a witch herself. But for her entire life, she was told and even understood that she would never be able to use magic. Because in this world, you can't just become a witch, you have to be born that way. One day, while helping her mother at their shop, Coco meets a witch named Kifri who ends up offering to fix a carriage that broke. But instead of being
Oh,
able
wait.
to see
It's this manga. I think I've actually read a few chapters of this. Okay. Side note, I am terrible at remembering names of things that I don't think are absolute peak. Okay? If I believe you're peak, I will remember your name forever. Like Lord of the Mysteries, One Piece, another one, Bleach, Naruto. Although Naruto was just my first taste in anime. Well, technically, it was Dragon Ball, but Naruto was the first one I watched when I got to America.
him work his wonders, Kifri asks Coco to do an important job for him while he fixes the carriage, and it's to make sure that nobody tries to catch a glimpse of him casting the spell. Coco said, "Fuck that, I'm catching the peak," and what she saw wasn't a man casting magic with words, but drawing it. This entirely rewrites the world that Coco thought she understood,
Mm-hmm.
and she begins to use the pen from the sketchy witch to draw magic of her own. Eventually, she spammed enough spells to get a basic idea, but wanted to draw them much neater, and so she started to trace the magic in the picture book she got from the sketchy witch.
Ooh,
The spell that
we
Coco
don't
drew
do that.
turned her mother to stone and jeopardized her memories being erased by Kefri, as it's the one great rule for witches to hide the fact that anyone can use magic. But as a secret exception to help save her mother, Kefri lets Coco keep her memories so she can study magic and live out her dream of being a witch.
Okay, I did not get that far. If I got that far in the manga, I probably would have kept reading it, okay? I just skimmed over the manga. I just skimmed over it. I don't remember why I even read it in the first place. I only remember I read it because of that guy with the hat. The Magic Dilemma.
Next to those giant fire-breathing aerial lizards that we call dragons, magic is probably the world's most universally
Is that a
understood
black
fantasy.
hole?
I mean, in every mythology, folklore, and fantasy-based story,
I
magic
mean, yeah.
exists in some way to aid an individual or community. In Witch Hat Atelier, magic is taught to be a tool that innovates life and creates joy, and unironically, the magic system that Kamome Shirahama creates for the story is probably one of the most innovative concepts that is so well thought out that you, yes you, every single one of you beautiful human beings, excluding Dylan, can literally identify what a magic circle will do based on its 3 building blocks. The middle
Let me
sign
see.
is called a sigil and determines the element of the magic. The arrangement of signs around it determine how the magic will be expelled, and closing the circle that surrounds all of that will activate the magic. But that's just the basics. Let me tell you how deep this shit really goes. With advanced spells, you can use a connecting line between magic
Of
circles
course.
to link them and change the potency as many times as you want, or completing
Basically
a circle on a separate
glyphs.
object so you can toggle the magic on and off, or creating smaller
Ooh.
magic circles within a big one to combine their effects and to
Fire, water, earth, air, light. This is basically Owl House's glyphs, but way, way, way more thought out and advanced. I mean, if the Owl House kept going for a few seasons, I think there would have been more glyphs shown, but... You're right.
that this is just the surface of what people were able to identify in the series thus far is actual insanity. Holy fucking shit, do not let me draw ever again. This magic system is very different from others. I mean, you quite literally have the ability to understand what it must feel like to craft your own magic. Obviously, you're just going to get a piece of paper with some fucking doodles on them if you try to, but that doesn't stop you from having an idea of what the magic circle you drew might do. You're straight up handed the ability to grasp its endless possibilities and understand.
I can see how that's fucked up now. I can see how that's fucked up. Okay, going back. Okay. Going back to the Owl House for a second. Philip, or Emperor Bellows, is a fucked up man. And with only 3 of the 4 glyphs. Were there only 4 glyphs in Owl House? I know he didn't have the light glyph, which was the last one. He was able to create a teleportation circle. And create so many other magic stuff that can turn you into stone, do a bunch of fucked up shit. And that's with only 4 glyphs. And that's also with the fact that the Titan itself was holding him back from using all of the magic. But this world, you have nothing holding you back, and all the imagination and all the glyphs at your fingertip. I can see how that can be fucked up. I can see it.
What this story
There's a
means
lot
when
of
they
people
say
who will
that
do
magic
way
exists to innovate life and spread
horrible
kindness.
stuff.
Except endless possibilities also mean the opposition of what we're told exists, and out of everybody, Coco is one of the few people who understands that most. Forbidden magic are spells that exist for the intent of harm or personal gain, teleportation spells without a vehicle or door, spells that are explicitly used as a weapon, and any spells used directly on the body or even written onto the body, including those that heal, are considered forbidden and are taboo in the the world of witches, with the only
Makes
exception
sense.
being the spell to make people forget. Magic is a tool of manipulation, as much as it's preached to be used as a tool for good by those who want to protect the stability of the world, that inherently comes with deceiving people. In fact, there's plenty of unfortunate examples of this in the real world. They don't call them magic tricks for the fuck of it. They call it that because deception is the foundation of magic.
It is.
How did you do that?
Very well, I thought. It's sleight of hand. To explain the tricks to you would give you one solution, but it wouldn't give you all of the solutions.
In this story, when magic is used with seemingly good intent, it's usually mixed with some ulterior motive and by people you would least expect or even forget about because of how much optimism they shine on the story. There's an incredibly impactful moment where Coco feels like she's out of options and starts to make her way to the Tower of Tomes, a place that Kiefer mentioned to keep logs on every piece of knowledge that exists. And that's where Coco hopes to find a way to save her mother. Eventually, Kiefer finds her, tells
Why
her
not in the
everything is going
book
to be
you
alright,
used?
and tries bringing her back. But that's when we learn about how conflicted Coco's become with her entire journey of magic so far.
The more I learn about magic, the more uneasy it makes me. The more I study, the more things I'm told I mustn't do. What if no matter how hard I try, my work never pays off? I worry that when my hands fail to find hope, when they end up grasping at thin air, that I just might begin reaching for things I shouldn't.
What follows this is Kiefer explaining how although magic is something that manifests hope, it itself is not the answer to every solution. The avenues for hope exist in the mind of a witch. Magic only thrives when a witch is able to put pen to paper in imaginative ways, and that's what
Ain't
makes
that the
magic
truth?
magic. You see, I loved everything about this moment. It was wholesome, inspirational, served as a real tipping point in Coco's character, while also making me realize how almost every single thing that's said in this manga makes you really start to think, who's lying?
Answer everyone. Is that okay?
Kiefer is an incredibly complicated fellow. He's got drip, is chill as fuck, can be badass
He
as
seems
fuck,
like
and more
Gojo, I'm
times
just
than
gonna
not,
say.
he is the ideal mentor. But because of that, I also think he is the most unpredictably deceptive character in the series by
Well, no
far.
shit,
From
he
the
has
very
to be.
moment Kiefer was introduced and so forth, he was shown to have a side to his character that acted independently from everyone, a side controlled by radical emotions so strong that he even distrusts his best friend. Despite this, he actively is showcased as an incredibly good-willed person, with how he carries himself, the way he mentors his apprentices, and even his judgment on morally gray situations. It's really hard to not think that he's just a good guy, except when you pair that with his suspicious mischief behind the scenes and monologues of inner doubt, it just creates this constant unease.
Here's what I'm gonna say about this man. If he really didn't want people to see him draw magic, he could have easily drawn a spell or something to keep the room completely isolated from the outside world. I'm just saying. This magic system, like the owl houses, seems to have infinite possibilities, like quite literally infinite numbers of ways to rewrite glyphs and rewrite tomes to just make it be. Like, if you use like 20 different sigils to create one spell and that isn't doing what you want it to do, use 40, use 50, use 100. Again, there is so many ways you can use magic in this world, and if he really didn't want somebody to see him use it, he could have. I'm just saying.
Like, is he genuine? Is he selfish? Does he care? Does he not care? Like, what's this guy's deal sometimes? One moment he's the coolest motherfucker ever, and then the next he looks like he's willing to sacrifice an entire litter of soft kittens for a half-eaten cheeseburger. But he isn't the only person in this manga that makes me feel severely
Monster.
conflicted. As the story further
Don't
progresses,
ever
this
touch my
duality in
cats.
characters either develops in others or begins to present itself more blatantly. Every single character is as volatile as the magic that exists. This story that was once filled with vibrantly magical moments that words couldn't even begin to describe are now just periodically euphoric moments that are or bound to be shackled in sorrow. It constantly keeps me
Euphoric.
on edge, and I'm always caught thinking about how these
that
characters
word.
are unaware of what's below each other's mask. But as this thought came to mind, I started thinking about this girl at work.
Ah,
this plumpy, short, middle-aged white lady that I'd see here and there as I day in and day out do the bare minimum of labor while my sanity is begging for my shift to be over with already. And this lady is very jolly. Like, I swear that to every single person in the facility, she will give the same gleeful good morning with a slight chuckle after every sentence in response. This, of course, made me start concocting a ridiculous hypothesis on if this lady has some sort of underlying hatred against the world that she wants to hide from people.
Valid. Because if my workplace, I don't see everybody else as miserable as me while working there, I might have a bit of questions. You can't come in every single day being happy. You're fake. I'm just saying. We do the bare minimum. We talk, we work. We talk, we work. We talk about work, we work. Ain't nothing personal.
Why do I think like that? What the fuck? But maybe she's genuinely just a happy
The world has
person,
fucked
and
us
I'm
up,
a
my
piece of
man.
shit for assuming that, which
Maybe
is
we're a piece of
probably
shit.
more accurate, to be honest. Just like how this
I mean, bro, how the world is right now, I don't blame you. That's exactly how I think
be
too.
seen as a piece of shit for assuming that this guy is associated with some objectively bad witches because of the magic circle tattooed on his chest. However, we actually know that he's a regular person who travels as a bard to make people smile. So this magic circle on his chest, he's clueless of its origins or properties. But with context that felt entirely random before the fact, you know that it's a regularly used spell repurposed for something unknowingly sinister. Because of this tattoo, Doggon is in a perpetual state of refreshing the moment he dies. Over and over again, he makes new memories only for them to cease to exist. Again
You
and
see,
again,
I'm a genius, so of course I knew it was a memory spell just from a glimpse of from my side eye. I got photographic memory and shit.
Succumbing to the same brutal wounds, and death after death, he searches for Kustis just to see him cry over his dying body once more.
Holy shit. This isn't just a memory spell. He dies, comes back, loses all his memories. Bro, Subaru, but worse.
Really fucked up. Not his fault, and was only casted on him because Kustis wanted to save his life. But because he violated the witch's law, he's not questioned, he's just treated as a dangerous criminal. I mean, this guy is not harming anybody. Not anyone innocent, at least. I mean, this knight heard some music while off duty, locked the fuck in, found the source of the song, and was like, "You fiend! Step away from the children and put that lucrative weapon down! It's a fucking loot, buddy." And that's not even the worst part about this whole thing. It's the fact that this guy is gay. No, being gay is not the worst part. Gay people are cool. That's why it's the worst part. He's actually a really good guy, but we only figure that out after he gets the short end of the stick. Every single time I chose to turn to the next chapter, to the next page even, I became more and more conflicted.
That kid don't have feet. I thought he was just wearing those for...
I chose to turn to
Wait, no, he does have feet.
The next page even, I became more and more conflicted with just the smallest of side
I need to
plots.
put on my
And
glasses.
eventually
I don't know why I do
realized
this
that
without
for
my
me,
glasses.
This manga didn't only manipulate its characters, it also manipulated me. It toyed with my emotions by what I can only describe as a triple pump fake that gets fallen for every time. How is a manga able to do that? Anyways, I mean,
Lord of the Mysteries changed my entire opinion about war, okay? I'd say I never really cared about war, okay? Not until I read Lord of the Mysteries. I never really cared about the people in power. I'm always just like, oh, whatever they do, it doesn't affect me. I don't care about them. I read Lord of the Mysteries. The bullshit that King George did to try and ascend to godhood, that fucked me up for a while. I put Lord of the Mysteries down for like a solid 20 minutes after reading what happened in Backland. That really fucked me up.
of every conflict in this story, both figuratively and internally, is created because of the great law among witches. This grandiose law is meant to be the solution to an age of hurt caused by magic, when all it's really done is flare up more problems and be used as an excuse to not save people. Objectively, the restrictions that exist because of this law is dumb as fuck. It's
No
basically
shit.
like cleaning the floor by sweeping all the soot and dust underneath the couch, except it's been done throughout multiple generations under that same couch. In Witch Hat, it's erasing the memories of people at every minor inconvenience in order to keep the slate of people who know about magic clean. And after generations of neglect, it's become the reason why Coco's ideation of magic is not what she believed it to be. The law meant to protect people robbed her of her childhood and her mother.
That's what most laws do. You know, a video popped up that said our forefathers made the laws that we now follow open-ended because they know that they aren't smart, they aren't the smartest, they don't know everything that will happen, which is why they trust us, the newer generation, to fill in the holes they left behind. But because of those laws, many people just take those laws and use them for their own good. I'm just saying. Laws often hurt the people they are made to protect. And it's sad. Sad as hell.
You see, magic is the temptation that Tantalus seeked from the gods, but the result of this curiosity was low-hanging
That
fruit
is,
and water
what
before
isn't
his feet that would recede as he'd reach for them. And for Coco, the fruit and water that's all around her is magic that can save her mother, but any attempt to reach for such magic is impossible. In the manga, Coco is still about 12 years old and is forced to be more than just a 12-year-old against some of the wisest witches. Just like how magic fuels
Ain't that the
manipulation,
truth?
that wholesome outline blinds the fact that this story is really about how a kid is forced to grow up, how magic is like a wildfire, how hope feels like nothing but a means to an end, and how fate isn't defined by what life you were born into. Rather, it's defined by how you
inevitable.
choose to embrace the circumstances and live out that very breath. This, I think, is the true message that this manga tries to convey. Witch Hat seems far from being something that'll have a conclusion anytime soon, and as a result, everything that's happened so far has felt bittersweet. But regardless of the awful circumstances, they still somehow end up finding peace in that, a peace completely separate and alien from the tantalizing existence of magic. Sometimes we look at things with this sparkle in our eyes, eager to one day grasp it for ourselves. Money, fame, achievements, whatever the fuck. But what I think this manga tries to say, and will continue to say as long as its story highlights that awe, is something along the lines of, hey, just make sure you don't get lost on the way. It can get rough. So sometimes it's good to acknowledge that the best things are already in front of you. And I think that's what led me to calling this strange conclusion of mine the Witch Hat Atelier paradox.
This shit made me think. This video made me think. You know, it's easy to sit at the top and then say, oh, you're not working hard enough. Oh, you don't know how to use the system. Oh, this and that and that. You're not good enough. You're just not good enough. And you fail to see the fact that it doesn't matter how hard you try when everything is against you. And when you're at the bottom, you're always like, oh, everything is against me, this and this and that. Oh, I can't do this. You know, I don't remember who it is, but somebody once said, luck is as much of a skill as anything else. And I cannot agree with that more. Because when you're at the bottom, hard work won't get you everywhere. You will need luck. Alright? It's all hard work. I'm going to say it like this. It's 70% hard work, 110% luck. It doesn't matter how hard you work in something if Lady Luck is not on your side. That's just how it is. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. It's shit, but it's life. Anyways, great video. Beautiful. I like this video. It made me think. I normally don't like thinking a lot. not deeply about stuff anyways. Damn.